What do terrorists, crooked politicians, and Shakespeare's King Henry V all have in common? They all love the same twisted trick of logic. Give me what I want, or I'll have no choice but to hurt you. And when I do, it'll be your fault. In Act 3 of Henry V, the king threatens the governor of Harfleur with exactly this deal.
Therefore, to our best mercy give yourselves, or like to men proud of destruction, defy us to our worst. Look to see the blind and bloody soldier, with foul hand defiled the locks of your shrill, shrieking daughters, your fathers taken by the silver beards and their most reverend heads dashed to the walls, your naked infants spitted upon pikes, whilst the mad mothers, with their howls confused, do break the clouds! What say you? Will you yield, and this avoid? Or guilty in defense, be thus destroyed?
In other words, surrender or watch your women and children suffer, and it'll be your fault. Continuing with our look at controversial issues the works of Shakespeare addressed that are still relevant, perhaps even more so today, I'd like to propose coining a new term for philosophers and students of logic to chew on. I'm calling this nasty little trick the Harfleur Fallacy, and you'll hear it echo every time a terrorist or a political bully tries to justify chaos. But first, let's break down why the usual label for this logical fallacy, begging the question, doesn't fully cut it. So, quick refresher. When someone begs the question, they assume the very premise they claim to be proving as just something that everybody knows. It's classic circular reasoning. Your religion's holy book is the infallible Word of God. And how does everybody just know that? Well, because it says so in that book, whose teachings are absolutely true and must never be questioned. But when King Henry threatens Harfleur, or when a terrorist says, we had to blow up civilians because they didn't meet our demands, there's a deeper poison in the logic. It's not just assuming your side is right. It's assuming you're entitled to your demand by default, and that doing evil is justified if you don't get it. It's not just a loop. It's a hostage situation dressed up as the moral high ground. And that's what makes the Harfleur Fallacy its own special monster. It's not just one, but three central premises that you begin by assuming are correct, and begging the question of just how everybody knows that. Premise 1. I'm always right, thus my cause is just. Premise 2. Because my cause is just, I'm just entitled to whatever it is that I demand. Premise 3. Because I'm entitled to it, any evil I do is your fault for not giving it to me. You see this every time a terrorist blames victims for refusing to bend. You see it every time a politician says, well, it's the other side's fault that the government's shut down. They won't compromise. When by compromise, what they mean is cave. Cave to their demands from which they haven't shown a willingness to compromise on, or even to bend a single inch. Clearly, at no point of these politicians seemed willing to consider the question that their logic begs. Did you ever consider that maybe your demands are unreasonable and that it's your job to yield a little? It's the same trap. Shakespeare laid it out perfectly at Harfleur. And here is the artistic genius. Most writers would just glorify Henry as the heroic king. He's invading France, the enemy of Shakespeare's country, and he wants Harfleur to surrender, so his threat must be noble. But Shakespeare never lets his heroes off easy. One of the many marks of his genius at creating fascinating characters that I've discussed before is that he refused to write them as one-dimensional good guys or bad guys who are either all one or all the other and have no complexity as human beings. Even when it's his own king that's threatening unspeakable violence, he shows you the trap. He shows you the irony. Henry's soldiers on stage with him might cheer, but the audience sees the cruelty. He's playing the same bully logic any warlord or terrorist uses. Do what I say, or the horrors I unleash will be your fault. That's not patriotism. That's the Harfleur Fallacy. So next time you hear someone, a politician, a pundit, a bully, a boss, using that kind of reasoning, take note of it. Call it what it is, the Harfleur Fallacy. Your excuse to blame the victim for the harm you choose to inflict. And if Shakespeare could spot it 400 years ago, we don't get to pretend that it's new. I'm Mark, actor, playwright, and all-around theater fanatic. If you like pulling modern hypocrisy out of classic plays, hit subscribe and drop a comment. Where do you see the Harfleur Fallacy at work today? I'll see you next time.